Side Meanie begins with exit music, or in brackets, for a film. Starting out as a soft, calm and bittersweet acoustic ballad, this was inspired by the Shakespeare play of Romeo and Juliet, specifically the 1968 film adaptation directed by Franco Zeffirelli. I probably butchered that name wrong, I don't speak Italian. But anyways, that film had deeply moved Tom York as a very young child. In fact, he wanted to work in certain quotes and lines from the actual play itself, but eventually didn't. Maybe out of copyright perhaps, although I'm not too sure if one could really patent or copyright a Shakespeare play or something like that. Could be wrong here, do feel free to correct me if such is the case or not. And of course, half a year before this album's release, this song would actually be used in a film version of Romeo and Juliet, specifically Baz Luhrmann's 1996 modernized take on the classic tragic love story called Romeo plus Juliet, being played over the ending credits, hence the fitting abstract title of Exit Music for a Film. The lyrics themselves do indeed seem to be a subtle insight of the Romeo and Juliet narrative, almost feeling like a soliloquy from the very play itself. The first lines of "wake up from your sleep," "the drying of your tears," and "today we escape" do seem to be about, or even be from the point of view of the two star-crossed lovers, hoping to escape their captive lives and conflicting families in order to be together and live together. The two pack up and get dressed before either of their fathers hear them, and all hell breaks loose. And when Tom sings "Breathe, Keep Breathing," we suddenly get these mellotron choirs, giving off this holy yet unsettling sound to it, almost reminiscent of, well, early to mid-70s prog rock records. Afterwards, things seem to ease down a bit again, as Tom says to "sing us a song to keep us warm," and "there's a chill." This could likely represent our two lovers feeling the cold cruelty of death approaching, and they wish for a hopeful song to bring warmth and security as they pass on to the afterlife. Then things tense up a bit as Philip Selway's drums enter the scene, and Tom sings how we can laugh a spineless spine, and hoping that we choke on our rules and wisdom, likely referring to us as the Montagues and the Capulets, while Romeo and Juliet are finally one in everlasting peace. And it comes into a tear-jerking climax, again very similar to a 70s prog rock song, before fading down once again as Tom sings one last time, "We hope that you choke," before subduing into the silent darkness. As Prince Aeschylus would say at the very end of the play, "You have lost a brace of kinsmen, and all are punished." Afterwards is "Let Down," possibly one of the closest songs here to be remotely uplifting, if even that. This steady beat of a song features several layers of keyboards and arpeggiated guitars by Johnny Greenwood, all forming this wall of sound on par with a George Martin production. This was intended to be not only a single, but the first single of OK Computer, but instead they went with Paranoid Android, as well as the next song we'll be talking about later. Just by singing, Tom paints this setting, this environment of transport, motorways and tram lines, making us feel like we're riding this endlessly ongoing bus to an unknown destination, if there even is one at all. Tom was apparently inspired by a time he had sitting in a pub one day and noticing how some of the other customers seemed empty, devoid of any feeling while clinging to their bottles, and so he would write such into this very track, expressing these feelings of being trapped, isolated, and holding on to the inches of life, being emotionally and mentally drained. Addressing how, with so much consumerism and material value, we soon come to realize that these things aren't exactly as fulfilling as we once believed. Wanting to feel some kind of genuine emotion, but not just getting sentimental or fake, dishonest, or disingenuous about it. And just like with Subterranean Homesick Alien, Tom wishes to break away from this mundane life of collective conformity. This time wishing to grow wings and fly away, like in the Terry Gilliam film Brazil. But at the same time, he's aware of the futility of such a dream, calling it a chemical reaction, hysterical and useless. Just another chapter in the life of this character, this paranoid android. This song suddenly doesn't let me down. If anything, it lets me up, to see things in a different light from before, if even in a slight. Side Meanie ends with Karma Police, the second single of OK Computer. A simple alt-rock song with some deep meaning in its lyrical content. Named after an inside joke the band members would have, where if someone did something bad, they'd call the Karma Police. Karma itself started out as a spiritual term for cause and effect. Being good and doing good would eventually lead to good karma and being reborn in a better life, while being bad and doing bad would lead to bad karma and being reborn in, well, not so much a better life. Very much like the John Lennon song Instant Karma. Over time though, the word will eventually evolve and be used to refer to a bad person getting their comeuppance. Therefore, this Karma Police seems to be a non-existent yet idealistic authority. Starting off with some piano, acoustic guitar and percussion, Tom calls the Karma Police to arrest this man, no, not that one, for talking in maths and buzzing like a fridge. So this man's essentially a loud buzzing bee who constantly abrupts and disrupts maths lessons by talking out loud. And in the next verse, he calls to arrest this girl for having a particular haircut that's making him ill. Basically, he portrays this role of a bossy individual who points fingers like a body snatcher and prejudges and discriminates on those whoever he may deem bad for even the most trivial of reasons, be it for talking or even just looking differently, or in a certain way. And this is what we get when we mess with them. So again, basically a Karen, or someone on Twitter. And soon, he's given all he can, but it's still somehow not enough, and they're on the payroll. But over halfway through, the song changes its tune as Tom sings how he lost himself for a minute there. Then Ed O'Brien's screechy guitar gets looped and delayed over and over until it starts to glitch up and break down, ending the song quite abruptly, as if the speakers couldn't handle and take so much of the awesomeness of the music, so it just decided to just give out and pass out. That, my friend, is the power of Radiohead.